Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषः शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
Shall I begin, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please.
So this is the third chapter, pure devotional service, the change in the heart. So on the bank of river Jamuna, Maharaj Pariksit asked three sets of questions to Srila Sukadev Goswami. The first one, what is the ultimate duty of people in general, especially who is on the threshold of death? Second, what should we hear, chant, remember, meditate? And third one is what we should not do. Three chapters of second canto establish the superiority of Bhakti Yoga. Then first chapter at a glance. Here in the first chapter, Srila Sukadev Goswami actually condemns the materialistic way of life and established the auspicious process of hearing, remembering, and glorifying the Lord Hari has been explained. That is verse number 2.1.5, that is Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Iswaro Harihi Srotavya Kirtitavyascha Smaratavyascha Isthata Abhyayam. And second, 2.1.7, Praina Munayo Rajan Nirvita Vidhi Sedhatah Nirgunasta Ramante Sma Gunanu Kathane Harihi. And in the second chapter, Sukadev Goswami speaks about how a person should live, the minimum dependency on the material nature. And here, Ashraya for meditation is Paramatma. Ashtanga Yoga, also called as Brahma Bhakti, the gross merges into the subtle and how he can liberate himself and reach the Brahmalok planet. And here also in second chapter, the conclusion was Bhakti is superior than the other processes. And in the last two verses of second chapter, it has been clearly understood. And so 2.2.36, Tasmat Sarvatmana Rajan Hari Sarvatra Sarvada Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smaratavyo Bhagavanrinam. And 2.2.37, पिबन्ति ये भागवत आत्मनः सतां कथामृता श्रवणपुटेषु संभृतं पुनन्ति ते विषया विदुषिताशयं व्रजन्ति तच्चरणासुरोरुहान्तिकम्. Now we'll begin third chapter. So the third chapter, there are 25 verses and it can be divided into 7 sections. The first verse is the answer of Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And then the verse number 2 to 9, that is the worship of different demigods for fulfillment of different desires. And the third is verse number 10 to 12, that is description of pure devotional service. And fourth, verse number 13 to 16 is glorification of Srila Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj by Srila Sonaka Muni. And now, verse number 17 to 19, it is criticism of persons who are not engaged in the devotional service. And verse number 20 to 24 is comparison of different limbs of persons who are not engaged in devotional service. And last verse, the final verse, is the eagerness of Sonaka Muni and all the assembled sages to hear the discussion of Srila Sukadev Goswami and King Parikshit from the Sāci-Sutā Goswami. Now we'll begin the first verse. The Srila Sukadev Goswami has already answered the duty of intelligent men, that is Vanisina, at the verge of death. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained, unless one inquires about his own self beyond body and mind, all his activities in human form are total failure. which is also explained in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is known as Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, prepared the Vedic literatures in the incarnation of Vyasadeva for reading the intelligent class of men in the human society, who is almost totally forgetful of genuine relation with Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20.122 to 123, that is teachings of Srila Sanatana Goswami. माया मुग्ध जीवेर नाही स्वतः कृष्ण ज्ञान जीवेर कृपया कैला कृष्ण वेद पुराण एंड शास्त्र गुरु आत्मा रूपे आपनारे जनान कृष्ण मोर प्रभु तत्र जीवेर हय ज्ञान. By the mercy of his spiritual master, only one can understand the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada wrote that the whole Bhakti Yoga process is the revival of rust relationship. And a Manishinam, a intelligent person, must take this devotional service like hearing, chanting, reading very seriously, which are all Hari Kathamrita, which are recommended when one is preparing for death. Now, the next section, that is 2.9, there are worship of different demigods for fulfillment of different desires. So in the beginning, that is there is a verse quote in Bhagavad Gita, that is Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kamaste stair hrita jnana prapadyante anya devata tam tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyata saya. The less intelligent person worship different demigods for the different material desire, which has been condemned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So desires like absorption in impersonal Brahma Jyoti, demigod is Brahma. And powerful sex, one should worship Indra. Good progeny, Prajapati Daksha. Good fortune, Durga Devi. Power, Agni. Money, Vasus. To be a great hero, Rudra. Large stock of grains, Aditi. Heavenly planets, Adityas. Worldly kingdom, Viswadeva. Popularity amongst general mass, Sadhya. Long span of life, that is Ashwini Kumara. Strongly built body, Earth. Stability in his post, Earth and horizon. Beauty, Gandharvas. Good wife, Apsaras and Urvasis. Dominion over others, Lord Brahma. Tangible fame, Supreme Lord Jagya. Good bank balance, Varuna. Vast learning, Lord Shiva. Good marital relationship, Uma. Spiritual advancement in knowledge, Lord Vishnu or devotees. Protection of heredity or advancement in dynasty, various devatas. Dominion over a kingdom or empire, Manus. Victory over an enemy, demons. Um, sense gratification, moon. So there are 26 types of desire and 26 types of demigods. And in the Bhagavad Gita 9.25, Lord spoke that Janti Deva Vratan Devan Pitrin Janti Pitra Vrat Bhutani Janti Bhuteja Janti Mat Jajino Apimam. In the purport of 2.3.9, Srila Prabhupada wrote that person impregnated with different desire have different modes of worship, but one who has no desire for material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. This is called devotional service. And pure devotional service means service to Supreme Lord without any tinge of material desire, devoid of material enjoyment and empiric philosophy. Now, the verse 10, which is very important. One who does not approach demigods for any material desire, but approach the Supreme Lord, then he will consider as Udaraha. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord spoke 7.1, Udara sarva eveti jnani tu atma eva me matam astitah sahi yuktatma mam evatmanam gatim. Akama means if one does not have any self-desire. Gopis are perfect example of Akama spirit. Anyone, whether Akama or Sakama or Moksha Kama, should worship the Lord with great expedience. Bhakti Yoga perfectly administered without any mixture of karma and jnana. As unmixed sun rays is very forceful and therefore called tibra. Similarly, unmixed Bhakti Yoga of hearing, chanting, etc. may be performed by anyone and regardless Number 11. How one can enter into the realm of devotional service. All the different kinds of worships of multi-demigods can be attained the highest perfection by spontaneous attraction for the Supreme Lord, only by association of pure devotees of Lord. Only by the grace of pure devotees of the Lord one can achieve the pure devotion, which is the highest perfection of human life. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is written. साधु संग सर्वशास्त्र कहे लभ मात्र साधु संगे सर्व सिद्धि होए. Unless and until a devotee enter into our life, there will be no possibility of release from the fruitive work. And verse number 12, this verse talks about who higher than demigod worships. Who is higher than demigod? The devotees of the Lord are always engaged in service of the Lord. 10.9 in Bhagavad Gita 10.9 मच्चित्त मद्गतः प्राण बोधयन्त परस्परं कथयन्तस्तमां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च. By this exchange of the devotee is always ecstatic, and this bliss can even experienced in the stage of devotional practice, that is sadhana avastha. Bhakti yoga is properly undertaken under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, and in mature stage this transcendental feeling culminates into the realization of one's own identity and his relationship with the Lord. The bhakti yoga, being the only means of God realization, is called kaivalya, as the supreme Lord is known as kaivalya, and the means which enable one to approach the Lord is called kaivalya pantha. So the bhakti yoga is also known as kaivalya pantha. Kaivalya pantha begins from hearing, and Queen Kunti Maharani very much glorified the process of hearing in her prayers. That is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.35. भविस्मिन् क्लेश्यमानानाम् अविद्या काम कर्मभिः श्रवण स्मरणम् अर्हनि करिष्यानिति केचन. And in 1.8.36, सर्वन्ति गायन्ति घृणन्ति अभिक्ष्णतः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तव हितं जनाः तैव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तावकं भव प्रवाह परमं पदाम्बुजम्. The things in which modern man is very much interested become unattractive for the devotee, and this is called pratinivritta gunosmi. And this is possible by atma prasad, or complete self satisfaction without any material connections. But the great devotees of the Lord may have take part in the modern affair only for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. This is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami as Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyati. Now the verse number 13. Srila Sonaka Muni glorified Srila Sukadev Goswami and Srila Sukadev Goswami very much and appreciate his description of Srimad Bhagavatam in a very poetic manner. And it is also in 1.1.3. निगमकल्पतरुर्गलित फलं सुखमुखात् अमृतं द्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुका. A pure devotee of Lord, although a pure devotee of the Lord also develop all the godly qualities. That is 5.18.12. जसस्ति भक्तिर् भगवती यकिंचन सवेर गुणस्तत्र समासुते सुरः हरो अभक्तश्च कुतो महद्गुण मनोरथेन अस्ति धवतो बहिः. So the Srila Sonaka Muni there explained there are 26 good qualities, prominent feature of devotee, which has been explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is qualities like kind, peaceful, truthful, faultless, magnanimous, etc. But Srila Sonaka Muni especially glorified the poetic nature of Srila Sukadev Goswami. And in the 14th verse, the sages were further eager to hear the topics related to Lord Hari, as the topic of the Lord Hari must be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as Paramahansa Samhita or Vedic literature, meant for the topmost transcendentalist. As a pure devotee of the Lord, And pure devotee of the Lord are also described as Paramahamsa. And Queen Kunti Maharani, although being the one of the topmost devotee of the Lord, but out of humbleness, she prays that Tatha Paramahamsanam Muninam Amalatvanam Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham Katham Pasyam Mahistriyah. Then in the verse number 15, it is very, very important verse. This verse told how we should raise our children. And in the Bhagavad Gita 6.41, it is Prapya Punya Kritam Lokan Uttisva Swateh Samaha Suchinam Srimatam Gehi.
Good. Continue.
Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashta Abhijayate. The yoga bhrashta, who is failed in proper discharge of yoga practice, given another chance in the next life, where they can perform devotional service very easily, either in a pious, prosperous family like Kshatriya king or rich merchants. Srila Prabhupada also gave his own example, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's example, that how they born in a very fortunate Vaishnava families, and they developed the culture of devotion from the very beginning of their life, and they also trained in such a way that they will develop it naturally. Parikshit Maharaj, also being born in a very pious family, in the family of Pandavas, and imitate the worship of the Lord from the very beginning. Imitate the worship of the Lord from the very beginning. And it is also the duty of every householder devotee to keep their family deities and train the children in their worship. There are two types of devotees, like Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. And there is no difference in the ultimate issue. Anyone can become Sadhana Siddha in the association of pure devotees. Example, the great spiritual master like Narada Muni. Now the verse 16. Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord from his birth, and so is Sukadev Goswami. Both of them were unveiled pure devotees of the Lord. When such devotees assemble, there can only be Hari Katha. The Supreme Lord, not only the subject matter of devotees, but also of the philosophers. That is Urugaya Gurun Daraha. One can hear about Lord in the association of devotees, and that is the potency in the association. Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken only for the glorification of the Lord. Now the verse number 17. For the devotees, the time factor does not work. And the one thing that sucks the lifespan of everyone, that is by rising and setting down the sun. Uh, but who are accustomed to Uttama Sloka Bhartaya are exception. Those who are engaged in discussing the topics related to Supreme Lord are not affected by time. Everyone is affected by Kalaha, but the devotees of the Lord can transcend the time. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Lord spoke, endeavor is of devotional service never baffled. Naha vikramana nasosti प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पम अपि अस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भय. A highly potent drug injected intravenously act at once on the whole body. The transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear of pure devotees can act very effectively. Oral reception of transcendental message implies total realization, just as fructification of one part of the tree implies fructification of the all other parts. A moment passed in association of a pure devotee by hearing chanting the transcendental message of the Lord can perfect guarantee of eternal life. The devotee's old age or disease are not same as the common man's old age and disease, but are just a stage to taking them back to Godhead, back to home. Now the verse number 18. Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Rather, life is for tapasya or purifying one existence so that one may enter into the eternal life just after the end of this human form of life. There is no need of prolonged life like trees without devotional service, and there is although trees are breathing, that breathing is compared to the breathing of the bellow of blacksmith, who also breathe very fast. And one may ask, although trees can breathe, but they are not enjoying eating, sleeping, mating. But what is the good in that? The street dogs and the beasts are also eating and discharging semen. So here, the materialistic way of life is highly condemned. Now the verse number 19, where the mentality of materialistic men are compared to dog, hogs, and ass and camel. So first, dog. Dogs are very commonly very anger without any reason. Those who are not interested in Uttama Sloka Vartaya are compared with dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Dogs anger without any reason. The modern education system are highly condemned, and the people are doggish mentality, going door to door for a job. And hogs are who eats without any discrimination. Nowadays, all the people are eating without any discrimination. In Bhagavad Gita 3.13, Lord spoke that Jagya Sistanah Santum Uchyantis Sarva Kilbisahi Bhunjate Tetu Agham Papaye Pachanti Atma Karanat. And in 9.26, Patram Puspam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Upahratam Asnami Prayatat Manah. The camel are the karmis who take the heavy loads and enjoy the throne, eating business with the false pleasure. The great businessmen and the mercantile men earn in questionable manner and eat the thorny result of their actions. And as are the greatest fool. Today's men are compared to as they are working very hard like asses and again kicked by the fair sex. And now the verse number 20.
Continue. Rama, your voice has stopped.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I don't know. Zoom actually closed.
Okay.
What do you know?
Can hear you. Speak.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Prabhuji, am I
Yeah.
audible, Prabhuji?
Yes. Continue.
Now the verse number 20, where the limbs of materialistic persons are compared. So devotional service to the Lord is rendered by all the limbs of the body. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 to 20, it is explained, Sabe Manaha Krishna Pada Arabindur Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnam Karo Harer Mandira Marjana Diso Shrutim Cha Parat Uchyata Sat Kathodaya. Ears which is not accustomed to hear about the Lord's glory pastimes are compared to the holes of the snakes. And the tongue which is not engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord or the discussion about the Lord is compared to the tongue of the frog. Also, it is compared to the prostitute which is engaged in chanting the modern affair. Now the verse number 21. Here there are here in the purport Srila Prabhupada explained that there are three kinds of devotees. The first class devotees who are Nitya Muktas, and they have no distinction between devotees and non-devotees. Then the second class devotees who can see the difference between devotees and non-devotees, and they can do preaching work, and they can accept disciples from the third class devotees. And sometimes the first class devotees who are Nitya Siddhas comes as a second class devotees for the propagation of the message of Supreme Lord. For example, Srila Prabhupada. And if persons with with here in the purport, where in the verse, a person with a heavy burden of turban, if not bowing down before the Lord, it only help him to drowning in the ocean of birth and death. And hand with glittering bangles are not engaged in devotional service of the Lord, they are like dead men. So if a person is devoid of devotional life, he is only decorating a dead body. And now the verse number 22. It is very important for the householders. The householder lives must be centered around the deity worship. They must install deity at their home by the instruction of spiritual master. The spiritual master is who releases the dependence from the words of repeated birth and death. This is the quality of the spiritual master. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, Sri Vigraha Aradhana Nitya Nana Shingara Tanmandira Marjanad Yuktasya Bhaktas Chaninjotopi Bande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. A spiritual master teach all these things to the neophyte personally. If the eyes are not taking darshan of the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, then it is no better than the plumes of the peacock feather. And if the people should visit the holy places by following the footsteps of great devotees, that is Anubraja. So if the legs are not going to the holy places, they are like the trunk of the trees. Now the verse number 23. This verse is very heavy warning those who are not following the process of devotional service. A person who has not received the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee on his head and not experienced the aroma of tulasi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord, they are just like dead body. To receive the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee of the Lord means to carry out his instruction as the life and soul of his existence without any deviation. So we must tune our mind and senses to be obedient. And now to be obedient, now the talk about consciousness. The consciousness expands to the extent we become subservient, and it contracts when one becomes independent. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is to become a servant of pure devotee of the Lord. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, it is written in the purport by Srila Prabhupada that one can become a Mahatma by only following a Mahatma. This means to be in parampara. And a person may have very good scholars from the material point of view, but does not mean that he can comment on Bhagavad Gita. It was described it is described in Raja Vidya book by Srila Prabhupada. And, a person may very good scholar from the material point of view, but it does not mean that he can comment on Bhagavad Gita. To understand Bhagavad Gita, one must come to the disciplic succession. So one may ask, what is the means to be in parampara? So to simply follow, to be in parampara means to simply follow without any argument and refutation. Role of spiritual master. Now in the purport it is explained the role of spiritual master. So the first role of spiritual master is to train the disciple in such a way that he will go back to Godhead. And training only happens when there is personal relationship and when love is more prominent than false ego. Otherwise there will be no change. But there will only change, that is change of body. And the progress in devotional service only happen by following parampara. And in Lord Krishna is the property of his devotees. So Lord Krishna empowers 4 persons to establish the parampara, like Lakshmi Devi, Brahmaji, Rudra, and Kumara. In Brahma Samhita, it is said that Lord is never to be found by Vedic literature, but he is very easily approached by pure devotees. That is Vedesu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. Now the verse number 24. The whole process of spiritual culture is change in heart. The process of devotional service is very gradual, step by step. So it is called Vidhi Bhakti. mind is the greatest impetus in bhakti. So how the heart will change? When the conception, perception, desire of the heart will change. It will only be possible by rendering devotional service. So bhakti is ahetuki apratihata. Change in heart means our thinking, feeling and willing will change. Thinking, the change in thinking means our spiritual life becomes more prominent and more important than any other things. And our feelings means we will do our spiritual duty and responsibility very strictly. And willing means it will transform into activity. If there is no change in the heart, then life is total failure. It is Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gubelu. Hearing and chanting are the basic principle of devotional service. Then the eightfold bhava stage appear. And it is also explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Gurvashtakam. Mahaprabhur Kirtana Nitya Gita Baditramadyan Manasorasena Romanchakam Shrutaranga Bhaju Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam. If this reaction is not happening after years of practice, then it is because of aparadh. And there are 8 qualities in pure devotees like Shanti, Abhyartha Kalatvam, Virakti, Manasunyata, Asa Bandha, Namagane Sadaruchi, Priti Tat Basati Stale, and Samut Kantha. If one has all these 8 qualities, then the 8 symptoms of bhava will develop. Now there are disease in the neophytes. The neophytes have a disease of enviousness, and symptoms of this disease is they find their own way and own rule regulation, and disease of bad habits. If this disease will not rectify and they will not treat it by the association of devotees, then it will remain years after, and their heart will remain stone-hearted always. A complete progressive approach on the path, on the return path of back to home, back to Godhead will depend upon the instruction of bona fide spiritual master based on revealed scripture, not by own effort. And the last verse, that is 2.3.25. Now all the sages are headed by Sonaka Muni wanted to hear more Harikatha from the conversation of Srila Sukadev Goswami and Sri Pariksit Maharaj from Sutta Goswami. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, oh, Ramya. It was like, a song. You were singing and we were all hearing. Spellbound. Manoram Prabhu, please come in the screen. You are outside your screen. We can see only your, your curtain. Where are you? You are nowhere in
Prabhuji,
this.
actually there is a Prabhuji, there is power cut, so this background is coming. So I'm not visible, Prabhuji.
You are not visible. You have become invisible. But we can hear you. Huh?
Yes.
You have
Prabhuji.
light with you, otherwise why don't you use your mobile phone light? Okay.
Yes.
So you assess the presentation of Ramya Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I think it will be very much pleasing if I just thank Ramya Mataji. Like yesterday, there was presentation from Priyanka Mataji, and today again there was very much in a very pleasing way. As you said, Prabhuji, I was hearing that she was applying different tones in between, appropriate tones as well. So prayers mode and also the recitations. So everything was inclusive, and totally we are on with her actually what she was speaking. So it was like, although there was although she has shown also the verses, but I think it was more visual way. We could see through her speaking, we could see it and hear properly. So yes, Mataji has touched every verses, and it was very much, I think, relatable that she started even previous chapters also. She connected very well with the previous chapters, and then gradually she started verse by verse. I have written down, I have missed actually the flow she was going through, so many verses, but many of the verses I could just write down from Bhagavad Gita and others. So actually, Mataji has told about many important points, and just few of the things I'll just try to mention what I could written down. So Okama, she told, although one is having material desires or not having material desires, so everyone should actually worship the Supreme Lord and not go to the other demigods. So one point was 2.7.10, and Mataji mentioned also this is a very important verse. And there are subsequent many important other many verses. In 2.3.11, Mataji has mentioned that Bhakti Yoga is also called Kaivalya. So again, emphasis has been given to the Bhakti Yoga process. And in 2.3.12, Mataji has mentioned that how actually Bhakti Yoga Kaivalya Pantha starts. It starts with the process of hearing, and there are subsequent verses like 2.3.15. So Mataji was again emphasizing about the duties of the parents, how they should raise the children, give their children teachings from the very beginning, and she again gave examples of Srila Prabhupada and his spiritual master, how they were actually trained through their parents. And in 2.3.17 also Mataji, Mataji, she emphasized that how devotees are not touched by the kala or the time effect, because they are always uttama shloka vartaya, so therefore they are not touched by the time or kal. And again in 18th verse, he mentioned that life is for tapasya, not for eating, sleeping. And again in 19th verse, so there was a chastisement by Srila Prabhupada, and Mataji has mentioned everything that how a materialistic man is relatable to dog, hogs, camels, and asses. And then gradually in 2.3.21, again Mataji mentioned there are different classes of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Although first class actually they are in the category of Nitya Siddhas, but still they come to the second class for preaching and uplifting the other people to the devotional path. So these were there are, although there are in between many points, but I just would write down these. And in 23 verse, Mataji again spoke about that we should train our mind to become a servant of the Supreme Lord, and it should be through parampara, not by our own. And again, she referred back what yesterday Mataji also told, that parampara means to follow without any argument or refutation. And then subsequently, the qualities of spiritual master also she has mentioned. And lastly, in 24, this Vidhi Bhakti, although maybe that will be some I will be seeking some clarification on this, but just first I will go through. And next verses 25th, then after hearing so many things, so all the assembled devotees were again very much interested to hearing more and more. So it was just like a story, what we could relate. And thank you so much, Mataji, for giving so many verses in between from Bhagavad Gita. I could not even write because the speed actually I could not. Maybe I could not type, but I just we could relate, I think. So thank you so much, Mataji, once again. Just one query, Prabhuji, if you allow me. One query I am having
yeah, go ahead.
from 24th verse. I think Mataji, you spoke about, but I just could not relate it. This Vidhi Bhakti you said already. So if you can kindly just again a little bit clarifying. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Vidhi Bhakti has been explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. That is Vidhi
Which
Bhakti
verse
of
is this? 1 second. Which
24.
verse?
It is
24.
24.
Okay. Go ahead.
Vidhi Bhakti is explained in the purport. Vidhi Bhakti or regulated devotional service by the limbs of the body, like eyes, ears, nose, hands, etc. And it is now stressed here in a relation to mind, which is impetus for all activities of the limbs of the body. So Vidhi Bhakti is regulated devotional service.
What is exactly your question? What you were asking, Manoram Prabhu?
This was just a clarification on Vidhi Bhakti, Prabhuji. Means what does...
Vaidhi, it's not Vidhi. It is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi
Okay,
Bhakti is that which is
Vaidhi.
performed with rules and regulations.
Yes,
Two
yes.
aspects. One is the Vaidhi Bhakti, when one is in the practice stage, and the other is called the Raganuga Bhakti, where one has developed attraction for the Supreme Lord. Then that is spontaneous, that he serves the Supreme Lord. Okay, so what is your point in Vaidhi Bhakti?
No, Prabhuji, now it is understood. Actually, I think wrongly I have written Vidhi Bhakti, so I was just asking what is that Vidhi Bhakti.
Vidhi is the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So in Vaidhi Bhakti, we follow the process of following the rules and regulations which are given by the acharyas.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And the acharyas give the rules and regulations according to the scriptures.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. I think I just remembered now that classes also you told. So yes, it is Vaidhi Bhakti. Yeah, and so I think this much, Prabhuji. I'll just thank once again Mataji, and maybe one just small request from my side that for me actually it is I just the speed Mataji you mentioned. So I think many devotees could relate. And it should be maintained. But thing is that Mataji, the subsections when you told, so I just could not write it properly. So maybe for other devotees also, one request from my side.
You hear again.
Yes, yes.
Recording
Yes.
is there.
Yeah.
It is such a nectar. The more
Yes.
you hear, the more you will relish.
Yes, Professor. Yeah, definitely.
One hearing is not sufficient.
Yeah. Yes, so this is an assignment for me. And again, Mataji, if possible, maybe next time. So just in a front page, just the subsections. If you give it in a handwriting form also, that is fine for me.
No. That is your style.
Yeah.
It's not her style.
Yeah.
Her style is natural style.
Yes, Prabhuji. Then I'll make it.
This is natural flow from the heart. We don't
Yeah.
want technology here. That you are a
Yes.
technology person. You are an engineer. You will require that. We don't require that. Let her remain natural. This
Yes,
is
yes.
the free flow of the heart. Okay. Others,
Yeah, thank you,
please
Mataji.
participate if there is any question, or if her presentation, inspired you, you can speak quickly. And she has given so much time also. She completed her presentation well in time. For me, the most satisfying part was when you said that bhakti is to be performed by all the limbs, and you quoted that verse, very important verse, Sabe mana Krishna pada ravindeyo, vajansi vaikuntha punanvali. Very clear thinking, which is not mentioned anywhere in the purport. That verse is not mentioned in the purport. But you had very clear understanding of what the flow of this chapter is and what the rishis, the Swanak rishis and all, they are inquiring and how they are receiving the message. Very, very appropriate verse that you quoted. It is very satisfying. It is such a joy to hear. Thank you, Ramya. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Others, Bolo? कुछ नहीं है बोलने को? प्रियंका?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। Ramya Mataji, thank you, Ramya Mataji. You are very much elaborately explained the third verse, and you precisely quoted from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other Vaishnava songs also, and Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Thank you, Mataji. I am very much inspired from your explanation. Mataji, I want to discussion from you or a little um, discussion that 24 verse that because of our heart is still framed. Huh? So what change it required? Or what is the still framed heart to be called?
Hare Krishna Mataji, still framed heart means when the heart is not engaged in the devotional service or it has no change. Change means thinking, feeling, willing. If the heart is not thinking, thinking means our spiritual taking the spiritual life very important. Then feeling is taking the spiritual duty and responsibility very important. And willings means when these feelings become willing into activity, this is called when we are not engaged in devotional service and our thinking, feeling and willing are not changing, then our heart is still framed heart. The heart devoid of spiritual devotional service is compared as steel frame or very hard.
Is it become clear to you, Priyanka? She explained that what has to change? Our consciousness has to change. And how the consciousness changes? With our thinking. What the world is thinking? That by Dhanam, Janam, Sundari, they can enjoy better. They can reach the completeness of human life. But that thinking has to change. If that is not changing, then the heart is still burning. And then feelings should be for the Supreme Lord, for devotees, for the spiritual master. To abide and to please them. To abide by their instructions and please them. If this feeling is not coming, then the heart is still framed. And willing means even if it is difficult, even it is, not liking to our mind and body, still we undergo and execute the activity, we perform those activities. So this is the change in the heart. And if this change does not happen, that means that the heart is still pain. Sonika?
Hare Krishna Mataji. It was really very nice presentation, Mataji, as usual.
Not nice. Nice is not the appropriate word. Very relishable. What nice? Don't use this vague word nice. Nice has no meaning. You should define. If you have experienced the rasa, then you should, then the rasa should be spread. Bolo.
Yes, Mataji. You have quoted so many verses and so many songs I was hearing, and I was relishing Mataji, and I was inspired. And I will try to just follow the way of presentation of yours and yesterday's presentation of Mataji also. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for this presentation.
Pranav, where are you?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for this very wonderful presentation. You have in this chapter, it is name is pure devotional service, and all the process of pure devotional service is given here, and you have described very precisely, very wonderfully. For that, I want to thanks to you. And one thing I want to know and clarification, just maybe I missed the point. In the last verse, in the last part of your presentation, Mataji, you said that to return back to Godhead, we need the mercy of Guru, spiritual master. It is not by our own effort. So is it that our effort is not required, or both are necessary, Mataji? Please kindly again clarify this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have written the complete progressive march on the return path home back to Godhead is depend on the instruction of the Guru based on the revealed scripture, not by our own effort. That does not mean that is how much we are following. That does not mean that this means we are like here the neophyte have a disease that they make their own rule and regulation. So if this means we are following the instruction of the spiritual master, then only we will reach home back to Godhead, not by our own rules and regulations. That was I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. It is clear.
पुरुषोत्तम, अरे यूशन वीडियो खोलो यार, क्या है, पट्टी लगी है ना, क्या दिक्कत है? ओपन योर वीडियो.
Hare Krishna, actually I am not able to sit too long, so that's why I am lying.
Okay, you speak. We will hear.
Yes. I heard it's wonderful, Mataji. You very short time, in 1 hour only, you explain the whole chapter.
1 hour?
So
We completed in 35 minutes.
yeah, less than 1 hour. So actually, Prabhu, I'll hear this again, and I'll make lots of reference notes from this presentation. So it's quite aspiring, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So Ramya, how you prepared? You share. How was your experience?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, while prepare करने से पहले प्रभुजी एक्चुअली थर्ड चैप्टर में मुझे कोई कनेक्शन नहीं मिल रहा था, तो मैं रोज फर्स्ट चैप्टर सेकंड चैप्टर दोनों चैप्टर पढ़ी थी. फिर जब भी आते थे ऑफिस से मुझे पूछते थे कुछ पढ़ा क्या, तो मैं बोलती थी नहीं, मुझे कनेक्शन नहीं मिल रहा है, मुझे कनेक्शन नहीं मिल रहा है. तो फिर रात 2 दिन मैंने रात में पढ़ा, रात में 12-1 बजे तक पढ़ा, फिर 4 बजे उठ के पढ़ी, फिर आज पूरा दिन भर पढ़ी, फिर आज पूरा दिन ही पढ़ी और कुछ नहीं करी. आज तो मेस से भगवान के लिए भोग आया था प्रभु जी, आज मैंने कुकिंग नहीं किया.
कनेक्शन कहाँ से मिल गया?
मैंने सुना प्रभु जी, मैंने वर्ष बाय वर्ष हर लेक्चर सुना, उसका नोट्स बनाया. उसके बाद
तो कितने लेक्चर सुने आपने?
सारा थर्ड चैप्टर का सारा नहीं, 2.3 जैसे सेकंड चैप्टर का कुछ सुना, फिर थर्ड चैप्टर का सारा लेक्चर सुना.
कम से कम 10 लेक्चर सुने आपने?
हाँ सुना.
नहीं, बहुत सही कनेक्ट किया आपने. तीनों प्रश्न डाले ना, तीनों प्रश्न जो सुखदेव गोस्वामी से परीक्षित महाराज ने पूछे थे, ये तीनों उसी चैप्टर फ्लो वहीं से ही है. सही पकड़ा आपने. This precisely that. Many places you quoted so many verses, and I was saying, I was going through the purport. You captured almost every essential points of the purport also. Very thoroughly prepared. So much of it. This is what we want to do. We want to absorb our consciousness and trying to connect to Srimad Bhagavatam. If one is able to do that, then you quoted the verses. Vimantiye Bhagavatatmana Satam Kathamritam Shravane Utanti Samhritam. This is exactly. We are relishing. So, if you perform devotional service, while you are performing, you can experience bliss, that higher taste. So, thank you for being a perfect example of how a student should be. Pradeep, you had nothing to contribute? Quickly, if you want to speak, just unmute and speak. We're getting late. It's 9:30.
A very relishful presentation, Professor. Thank you.
Okay. No, most likely tomorrow I won't be able to take class because day after tomorrow I have a class at Punjabi Bar. I'll prepare. And so you people hear this presentation again if you want, or you can hear from Srila Prabhupada. And this is very satisfying. If amongst our student devotees, they make an effort, the teacher is most pleased. This is the greatest gift that you all can give. And I very much value the gift which Ramya has given today. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.